a.smith. It is Bob Myers. It is Michael Wilbon. Stephen A., I want to start with you here. Just your reaction. We haven't gotten a chance to hear it yet to the firing of Darvin Ham this morning.
Not happy about it. 90-74 record, 2 seasons in the NBA as a head coach, 1 Western Conference Finals trip, the other a first-round exit, but both at the hands of probably the best team in basketball.
Sure.
And when we looked at this team, we said, hey, if they, if it was not for Denver, they could beat anybody else. That's what everybody was, basically saying about them. And so to see him without a job right now, it leaves me a bit salty. I'm not happy about it. I don't like it, but I am not surprised because I knew the second that Anthony Davis uttered the words that he uttered following Game 2, where he was talking about them looking confused and out of sync.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing, but it was along those lines. I knew the moment Anthony Davis said that publicly in the press conference, that is not what he does. The second I saw that, I said, Darvin Ham, this is it for him.
So great players can't be accountable anymore? They just get to point the finger at somebody else?
Yeah.
That you can make $50 and $60 million and not be accountable at all? Really? Darvin Ham's a problem. 8 of those 12 losses were to the champs. All right? So they played pretty well. They pushed. They did as well as they could do under the circumstances. Can't people say that? We're at fault? No, let's blame Darvin Ham. I've known Darvin Ham for a long time as a player and assistant coach and all these years. Darvin Ham did a good enough job last year to get praised when they got to the conference finals, even though they were a playing team. So this, Stephen A., amen to everything you said. I'm beyond salty. I'm angry that Darvin Ham has taken the fall for these guys not being good enough. I am.
Bob, you have a unique perspective on this for many reasons, but one that I think back to is that you made the decision after a head coach made the postseason a couple of years back to let him go and bring in Steve Kerr. And obviously that proved to be a good decision. It led to 4 championships for the Golden State Warriors. But what's that balance, that assessment that Michael Wilbon is talking about where, yeah, clearly there's some roster issues as well?
Yeah, that I think was a unique situation, Malika, with Mark Jackson, who did do a very good job for us and is a very good coach. And I wish he would have another chance to coach because he deserves it. If Rob Pelinka or the Lakers organization hires a coach that does what Steve Kerr did, then yeah. But you got to do that, and that's hard to do. And when we let go of Mark, I didn't know if that was going to be the answer. It's never good for an organization. It's not a happy day to fire your coach. It's not as if this solves all your issues. I like Darvin Ham. I did a couple Laker games. I don't know him as well as you do. It's hard to find decent people that work in the NBA. I can vouch for that. It is very hard. Just high character, good people. He is one of them.
He is.
I know that. And you might say, I don't care, he didn't win. Character matters in anything, and it matters in professional sports. So I watched that Game 5. That was one of the best playoff games I've ever seen in the first, in any round. That was not a Lakers team that stopped believing in their coach. That was not a broken locker room. That team competed. That Laker team brought it every night. So now what's going to happen is the unfortunate thing is when you're the head coach of the Lakers, you know if you don't win, this is what happens, right or wrong. And so the next coach coming in is going to look at this and go, if I go to the Western Conference Finals and then I lose, then I'm gone.
It does have me wondering about one thing. Is it possible that he's gone because if he weren't, somebody else would be worried? We have to ask ourselves those questions. Sometimes somebody
that would even be worse. If the answer is affirmative,
sometimes somebody is let go to protect yourself. Now, I don't know.
Hey, we're not focusing on Game 6s. We are focusing on Darvin Ham. 2 years head coach Los Angeles Lakers was dismissed this afternoon. The news broke about 10 minutes ago as the Lakers have decided to move on from Darvin Ham after 2 seasons, second consecutive year. They've been bounced to the playoffs by the Denver Nuggets. As we welcome in our NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, you just broke this story moments ago on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Let's start there. Let's start with the timing of this. What can you tell us?
Matt, this was a decision essentially made days ago, if not late in the season. Once the Lakers did not advance past Denver, lost in 5 games, Darvin Ham was essentially finished as Lakers coach, despite the fact 90-74 in 2 years, went to the Western Conference Finals last year and then won more games in the regular season this year with 47 games, but twice ran into the defending champions, the Nuggets. And listen, this is one of the most difficult seats in all of professional sports. Judgment is harsh in that chair. Darvin Ham was brought to the Lakers to bring order, to bring structure, and advance to 2 postseasons. And again, a Western Finals, 2 in-season, 2 play-in tournament victories. But ultimately, the Lakers are going to make another coaching change. Ham replaced Frank Vogel 2 years ago. Darvin Ham's expected to be a head coaching candidate elsewhere in this league, whether it's in this cycle or in the future. But once again, that Laker job is open, and they'll start identifying candidates. You could expect names like Mike Budenholzer, who won a championship in Milwaukee, perhaps the most accomplished coach available on the market. And certainly there will be other candidates. The Lakers are still the Lakers, and they have the opportunity this summer to really improve this team. They've got 3 picks that they can use in trades. And, Darvin Ham, his successor, will be the beneficiary of what's expected to be a summer where the Lakers can really upgrade this roster around Anthony Davis and presumably, if and when they sign him back, of course, LeBron James.
Yeah, you just mentioned
by the time you hear this, it won't be breaking news. The Lakers are looking for a new head coach. Darvin Ham is out as head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers following 2 seasons at the helm. His first year on the job, won 43 games, took them to the Western Conference Finals, where they ultimately got swept by the Denver Nuggets. This past season, he took them to the postseason again. They got through the play-in tournament, ended up being the 7th seed, went against Denver in the first round, lost, didn't get swept this time, got swept last year. This time he lost in 5 games in his 2 seasons, 90 and 74. There you see it. 2 playoff appearances, 1 conference finals appearances, no finals appearances, lost 12 of the last 13 games against Denver. Here's the sad part about this on a couple of levels. It's widely recognized that if the Lakers hadn't drawn Denver, the Lakers could be going to the conference finals because they would beat anybody else that they played in the eyes of a lot of people. Denver was the worst possible matchup they could have had, and it is what it is. I'm sad for Darvin Ham because I don't think he deserves to be fired. I don't think the roster that he was given was ideal. I think Anthony Davis calling him out sealed his fate after their loss in Game 2 in Denver. When he said we just seemed a bit disorganized, not together. You can't say that about a coach. When you say that about a coach, dies cast, days are numbered. That's just the way it goes. And I don't think there's a way to get around that personally. That's my personal opinion. I'm sad for Darvin Ham, but I think he'll be all right. I just don't think he deserved this. Darvin Ham, remember, they win the championship in the bubble. And then they decide that they want to move on from Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Alex Caruso. Frank Vogel goes thereafter because the Russell Westbrook experiment doesn't work out there. And then after that, Darvin Ham comes on board. Darvin Ham comes on board. He inherits Russell Westbrook. He wants to bring Russell Westbrook off the bench. It's Armageddon. It's dissension. It's noise and chaos there. Russell Westbrook departs, ends up landing with the Los Angeles Clippers, coming off the bench eventually, and look at how good he looked coming off the bench for the Clippers. So I just think those are the kind of things that you got to consider. I'm sad for Darvin Ham. I don't think this is deserved at all. But I'm not surprised. The only thing that would suffice this for me, make this okay, is if Ty Lue ends up leaving as coach of the Clippers to come take over the Lakers, which I sincerely doubt the Clippers will allow to happen. I know that the Phoenix Suns wanted Ty Lue last year. They couldn't get him, and that's why they settled on Frank Vogel. It wouldn't surprise me if they wanted him again this year. I think the Clippers would let it, with Ty Lue still having a year available on his contract, I think the Clippers would let him get away to Phoenix before they let him go down the hallway to the Lakers, even though they won't be down the hallway come next season. They'll be moving into their new arena. Personally speaking, I feel sorry for Steve Ballmer, the billionaire owner for the Clippers, because Kawhi Leonard is the absolute worst superstar you could possibly have. He is a superstar player when he's on the court. The problem is he misses more than 40% of his games during the regular season and more than 30% of his games during the postseason. And he does absolutely positively nothing to promote the sport. He just doesn't. So I do think that's problematic. I do think that's unfortunate. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And I also want to put this out there. He's a player development guy. I know that. Phil Handy has been an assistant coach in Cleveland, Toronto, and LA. Each place he's been, they've won championships. When's he going to get his shot at the crown? When is Phil Handy going to get an opportunity to be a head coach in the NBA?
Executed. An enemy has been defeated. Executed.
Our Dragon Lane tower is under attack.
An ally has been defeated.
Isn't there anyone I can talk to?
Our middle lane tower is under attack. Our Slayer lane tower is under attack.
I believe in Veda.
An ally has been defeated. An ally has been defeated. Your team has destroyed a tower. Your tower has been destroyed.
At your own risk. The light
Enemy
will show me the
ultimate.
way.
Your team has destroyed a tower. An ally has been defeated.
Boring. Isn't there anyone I can talk to?
Your tower has been destroyed. Executed.
Single me out at your own risk.
Enemy ultimate.
Our base tower is under attack. Dragon and Slayer have evolved.
Your team has destroyed a tower. Shut down.
Cannoneers have spawned.
Executed.
single me out at your own risk. Time to meet your maker.
Your team has destroyed a tower. Your tower has been destroyed.